Good day, folks. This is Bob with Fast and Furious. If you remember, yesterday I had mentioned the upcoming event at the Aligarh Muslim University, which the Prime Minister was going to address. And I thought that, I suggested that it would probably be a very important event. And as far as the report suggests, it really went down well. And it's kind of, as somebody says, it was an epic event. Why was it an epic event? Because after a gap of 56 years, this is the first sitting Prime Minister that has addressed the Aligarh Muslim University. And I just wonder why. All these secular parties have come and gone, but till today, nobody had the gumption to actually go to the AMU. And it just actually tells you about the nature of secularism in this country, right? But what he had to say was really important, right? Which is really critical. What he says, obviously this is normal, politics can wait, development can't, and here I guess the reference, like, it is nuanced with itself. But what he said here, describing the AMU campus, its history of education as a priceless heritage. Now that's really important to note, right? And what else does he say? He says, the PM also stressed on the AMU's diversity. Urdu and Hindi, Arabic and Sanskrit are all taught on the campus. He called it diversity, which, see, there is not only the strength of this university, but also of the entire nation. Then what does he say? It's fascinating to see how attached to the AMU buildings is India's valuable heritage. Now AMU and Jamia Millia are soft power exports that have to happen to the Muslim world. And it's critical, and I'm hoping this address sent the right message to the right-wing loonies in his party to hold their horses. But most importantly, just imagine, this is UP, where Yogi, on the other hand, is going hammer and tong at almost anything that can be divisive, right? So it's important. But here says, another message says, Modi's message of inclusion. The Prime Minister has done well in reaching out to two minorities in recent days. Well, he talks about the AMU and he talks about Rakabganj. I think Hindustan Times is extremely wrong about Rakabganj, because I think that timing was dubious. If he had to reach out to that minority and it had to go to Rakabganj, he could have done it 5 years ago, folks. And that's important, because in Punjab, folks, what has happened is this war has become a war not between the BJP and the farmers. It's actually now has a name, and it's Prime Minister Modi. He is the curse word in Punjab at this point, and this is something that he's not used to. Then what do we have? Toma meets two farmer groups, obviously divide and rule. However, farmer Gherao, Haryana CM convoy show him black flags. Farmers block borders, demand passage in UP. So it's just not Punjab. Now if you look at the BKU leader, he's not from Punjab, he's from UP. And farmers harden stands, the suspense lingers over talks. Farmers union plan global protests against new law. And this is really funny, because it says NIA probing Khalistani funding for protests against India overseas. But it's really funny. Problem is here that a lot of these farmers have someone overseas in the United States, in Canada, in Australia, and they're all sending money. This is not all Khalistani money, folks. This is where the government has to be really careful. But crab care continues in UP. But the High Court comes to his rescue. An adult is free to marry on her own and convert, says the High Court. But the MP candidate to meet on anti-law. Wow, give some brains to these guys, man. Muslim groom on run, 8 more kin held. Well, folks, let's catch the real people. Conversion attempt gets 3 arrested in UP. Hola. But what's happening, which is important, why DDC poll outcome is big boost for centre. Why? Because it's the first opening in the democratic process, and it's the first time that you have actually the parties like the Gupkar gang actually celebrating the outcome. Shows that the elections were free and fair. But as I say, farmers, dhakka maro bhai. And what's happening here? China media harps on Western strife. You knew they were going to fish in water, and I am quite sure, I can tell you this, they have a hand in this, right? Electoral bonds. CIC says revealing names of donors not in public interest. The biggest scam, corruption scam in the world, perpetrated by Arun Jaitley. Now what do we have here? It's tech majors versus telcos for rich 6 gigahertz picking. Interesting. And what do we have here? Tata Sons, SIN talks on AI bid options. What is important here is, again, SIA is figuring in, folks, because it has to be a strategic sale and SIA is critical for that. Then what do we have? A Baloch campaigners, death sparks outrage, and guess where? In Toronto, folks. India has to come out on the sides of Baloch, folks. Cheers.